Hey, so for my junior summer project, I decided my question would be, how can iPads be used in 10th grade geometry to help teach and review material? So I chose this subject because it had always been math, especially in high school, and geometry had been very interesting to me. I always liked the classes, and so I never got to use iPads in those classrooms, and it intrigued me ways that I could maybe help teachers do that. Okay, so some of the apps that I found to use for 10th grade geometry were really cool, and they're free in the App Store, which is awesome, especially for schools providing for so many students. The Geometry Stash is an online textbook, and it allows students to go through and type in exactly what they're looking for. I can think of so many times I was in the back of my textbook looking in the index, trying to figure out like where the topic I'm trying to find is, but here it's type it in and it's straight there. Definitions, examples, illustrations. It's awesome, so straightforward, and it's literally looks like a dictionary of all these topics, which is really awesome. And then we have the GeoGebra, which is a graphing calculator, also free in the App Store, and it is great for basic geometry to the most complex geometry. It has the graphing calculator capabilities and also the graphing capabilities. Students can go in and type in their function, and it can give them answers. It can also graph it out, let them see it. It's really awesome. I think it's really cool to be able to just sit there on your iPad and pull that up. Very interactive constructions. I think it's really awesome. And then the last thing I really focused on was Google Tools, which many of us are really familiar with, but it's just always so easy to work on projects, collaborate with notes, any of this stuff. You have Google Docs to collaborate. I think it's really awesome. Okay, so for the pros and cons of incorporating iPads in 10th grade geometry, I found there to be so many more pros than cons. The first pro are students are able to review material that benefit them most. Say that you're sitting there reviewing for a class, they're able to pull up it themselves and, like I said, use that Geometry Stash online textbook or do these review games such as Kahoot to whatever they feel best that benefits them. They can sit there and do that on their own, which is really cool. Like I said, review games such as Kahoot are really awesome, interactive, and they can show teachers where the whole class stands on a certain topic. She can see, it gives her exactly how the class did on a certain question. You can sit there on your iPad. Students love that. It's fun. It gets the whole class very engaged in the topic. Then last for the pro would be iPads. Everyone our age and in high school now for the most part has iPhones, which makes it so easy for students to understand the iPads. It's not a ton of teachers having to explain how to use programs. It's very straightforward, very user-friendly, and they're very reliable, I think. One of the cons I came up with is that it may be difficult for teachers to convert their lesson plans from print-based to on the iPads, but I think once they see these apps and see the things that they can do on them, the new material and the new ideas can really benefit the students and benefit them to really help better elaborate what they're trying to do in their review and their teaching. Okay, so for the last thing I want to talk about in the video are the Twitter pages that I found and the hashtags I used to find a lot of information that could also help other teachers when they're trying to incorporate the iPads. The first thing I typed in, the hashtags at first were kind of hard to find, but I found that hashtag geometry and then another hashtag iPads. The two together were able to find handles and classrooms that talked about using them. And two that I really liked and are very often in tweeting were TechEd22 and Antonio Gutierrez. Both of these posted apps and questions that they post a question and then the app that they use to answer the question on an iPad, and they were all geometry based questions. Really awesome. You could ask them questions and they were always happy to reply very quickly. Just examples of new apps. That's where I found the 2 apps I talked about earlier and did a lot more research on. I just thought they were very knowledgeable and were very successful incorporating iPads into their geometry.